How's it going, guys? Welcome to a video in where I just want to talk about this upcoming show that is being developed for the CW. I just thought I would give my initial thoughts on it, and there is a very interesting one. I guess you already know through the title of this video. I think what I'm going to do is initially read out the main chunk of the article just so everyone is clear on what exactly is going on. And that is that the CW is developing... Well, the actual headline is that... Well, first of all, let me say this. I first heard that the CW is developing a Gotham Knights series, not to be confused with the Gotham Knights game. However, obviously, when you think of Gotham Knights, you think of certain Bat family members potentially forming a Gotham Knights team. And I was like, okay, I mean, you know, CW and all that. I mean, however, I do want to say at the same time, I am quite a big fan of what they did with Superman and Lois. Long story short there, it felt like they broke the old formulaic network-esque ways that usually kind of dragged the show, and it had a strong season 1, which felt very plot-driven. The writing was a lot more competent than that of your other CW shows that have spanned, you know, for many years now, such as The Flash being just a great example there. So at the end of the day, I didn't want to be too harsh in my initial judgment. I thought, okay, this could still be another show that could be better written and better produced and just overall better quality, likened to that of Superman and Lois. And I guess you could chuck Stargirl in there as well, even though Season 1 wasn't created by the CW. Season 2, you know, was, and albeit I don't think that was as good as Season 1, it still is a step up, like Superman and Lois, from just the old kind of formulaic approach, which I think really needs to be put to rest. So with that said, obviously a new Gotham Knights show coming to the CW, I was like, okay, you know, it could be, but then I saw the Variety headline. Batwoman team to develop Gotham Knights series at the CW. Now, before I continue my blabber of thoughts on what I think of that, let's read out what Variety has to say about these writers and, I guess, just the plans for the show in general. A Gotham Knights TV series is in the works at the CW from 3 Batwoman writers, Variety has learned. Now, obviously, that kind of initially raises red flags for people, but I do want to raise a devil's advocate at the same time in a second. The project hails from writers Natalie Abrams, James Stotteraux, either way, I'm sorry for butchering that, and Chad Fivash. Either way, Stotteraux and Fivash, God, I'm butchering these names, are executive producers on the show, with Abrams co-executive producing. Greg Berlanti, etc. Productions will also executive produce, but the main chunk we want to get to is Gotham Knights is based on the characters created for DC by Bob Kane and Bill Finger. It is not a spin-off from Batwoman, nor is it tied to the upcoming Gotham Knights video game, which I've already somewhat clarified earlier. In the show, now this is the interesting thing, you know, let's talk a little bit about the story and the setup for this concept that is in development for the Gotham Knights show. In the wake of Bruce Wayne's murder, his rebellious adopted son forges an unlikely alliance with the children of Batman's enemies when they are all framed for killing the Caped Crusader. As the city's most wanted criminals, this renegade band of misfits must fight to clear their names. But in a Gotham with no Dark Knight to protect it, the city descends into the most dangerous it's ever been. However, hope comes from the most unexpected of places, as this team of mismatched fugitives will become its next generation of saviors, known as the Gotham Knights. Now, these writers, all 3 of them, if you want to put them into a mixed bag here, have worked on some of their credits include Gotham, Krypton, The Vampire Diaries, also Supergirl, and, as I said, Batwoman. So, my overall thoughts on this is that I want to be optimistic in saying that these 3 So the main thing in common here is, even though they have worked on the shows Gotham, which, you know, even though I was a big fan of it, it didn't have the best writing in the world kind of thing, like The Vampire Diaries. Yes, I was a fan of that when I was younger, but still, you get what I'm trying to say. Like, I want to be optimistic that this is going to be a quality show which breaks that formula, as I've said, that Batwoman still somewhat has, The Flash has, Supergirl had. You know, it's that old networky kind of thing where, like, there's a lot of plot holes and there's a lot of this, that, and the other shoved into it. But Superman and Lois just kind of seemed to just go straight for the ball. Like, there wasn't really any filler in it. The filler, if at all that was used as it was meant to be, you know, for character development or interesting things that didn't drag. I can't say it's the perfect show, but it's just so, like, I'm not trying to pretend to be the master writer, but this is what I do. Like, I look at these shows and I can say that Superman and Lois was just such a different level of quality. Its caliber was on a whole other level to what we have now with, albeit, long story short here, with The Flash. Season 8 has now rolled around with 4 parts into the Armageddon crossover. Granted that it is the most interesting storyline we've had in seasons, like, you know, Reverse Flash screwing around with things, the stakes feeling higher than ever, things not dragging as much. It's more interesting than Cicada or The Thinker or Mirror Monarch or Mistress or whatever she was called. But the writing is still, like, completely with just leaps and inconsistencies that they just don't make. So that's what I'm worried about with this show, Gotham Knights. Like, Batwoman, even though I've watched quite a lot of Batwoman, but I haven't watched season 3. What I'm gathering is that, yes, it's a more interesting storyline, akin to what I just mentioned with The Flash. But I'm assuming here, so I could be wrong. What if it is as good as, you know, Superman and Lois' writing? Which I just have to say, even though I can't confirm this, I doubt it. I assume that Batwoman at the minute just has a better storyline. It's more engaging. It's got less episodes, 13 episodes, I think, if I remember correctly. And maybe that adds a bit more kind of engagement just in the story in general, which I believe is a big thing for shows. And, you know, network shows traditionally being 18 to 22 episodes or more lose that engagement through the filler that introduces. But Batwoman, what I'm trying to say here is I still wouldn't be surprised if I were to watch season 3 right now. I would have the same kind of writing issues and nonsensical things that just The Flash is riddled with. So you can get where I'm going with this. Gotham Knights, and the fact that it is being helmed by 3 Batwoman writers, and from what I've seen of 2 seasons of Batwoman, even though I did try to subjectively really try and enjoy the show, unironically, in the storyline, and here and there I may have, on a writing quality level, it just really wasn't it. So, not knocking any of these writers, they might do an amazing job with Gotham Knights, and it might not have the aforementioned points and concerns that the other shows I've mentioned that have had in this new one. But I'm just not optimistic, you know? And not only that, you combine it with the premise, and it just sounds a bit, like, silly. And somebody commented on my tweet the other day as well, yesterday, I suppose. I don't know why I said the other day. That, you know, the other weird thing is that they're building this universe in the CW. Batwoman, this, that, and the other. Now Gotham Knights, when there's not even a Batman around. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I guess in Batwoman, he went missing. But I guess at this point, to a fan like myself, when you're having that many characters in Gotham, in the Batwoman show, and now you've got a Gotham Knights show, with all these characters again, it's like kind of building off the Batman himself's name and character without anything involving him again. And I know that's a limitation of the show. It's just not a premise that I think particularly interests me, in my opinion. This may really interest you. Fair enough. Let me know down in the comments below. But this, also just the premise. In the show, in the wake of Bruce Wayne's murder, okay, I want to be convinced of Bruce Wayne's murder here, the Batman's murder. Please do a good job of that, but I'm just saying I'm not optimistic. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if it never gets explained properly, and the rebellious adopted son forges the alliance with the children of Batman's enemy. That framed perspective, I don't know if we're ever going to learn the truth. We'll just know that they're framed. They're going to try and crack it and clear their name, but what actually happened to Batman? I don't know. I know this sounds quite negative, and maybe it is. I mean, and I feel like the points I'm raising for certain perspective of negativity is valid. You know, I just don't feel like this show, it's just interesting that they're pursuing it. And I just got a feeling that with the rebellious son, I don't think that'll be Dick Grayson, just because we've got Dick Grayson in Titans. We're getting Titans season 4, unless they're secretly planning to end it with season 4, and this show comes after season 4. They go with that. I just doubt it's Dick Grayson. It's some other kind of character, probably, who is the adopted son. But, you know, I really do feel like Batwoman's Gotham doesn't even feel like Gotham. And perhaps that's just a limitation of the show again. There's a lot of things they just can't really pull off to make it feel like certain things happen in certain scenes, in certain situations, in episodes that I've seen. I could break this down because some people might be like, I disagree, but fair enough. But I feel like it does feel like Gotham. Obviously, there's a semblance of Gotham to it, like Batwoman set in Gotham City. Obviously, I'm getting a bit particular when I'm criticizing it for that. And I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't be surprised if this other CW show, which is going to be set in Gotham, and I don't know, it just doesn't sound good, you know? And the fact that it's being helmed by writers of a show that just hasn't really been, like, in a, like, you know, when I say objective, I mean objective without bias here, so I'm looking at the writing of Batwoman. It just hasn't been good from what I've seen. So the fact that we've got 3 writers helming this show in another Gotham without Batman, it just doesn't, I don't know. But I can't really judge it. I can, in a sense of slight judgment of what I've seen before from the Arrowverse, but that's why it was so important to me to play the devil's advocate of, well, we have got a brand new shiny show, which has done a damn good job compared to its sibling shows, Superman and Lois. But will this show, helmed by 3 Batwoman writers, mirror the achievements of the new age of Arrowverse, I guess I could call it, with what Superman and Lois has established? I'm not optimistic about that, and I think I've mentioned the reasons why. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Let me know what you thought of my opinions. I think they're fairly fair from what I'm observing. What we have to work with is 3 Batwoman writers. Their writing credits are shows like, you know, Vampire Diaries, Batwoman, and yes, Gotham, but as I said, Gotham wasn't, like, airtight. You know, it was entertaining, you know, in many ways that I like. And maybe I will still, you know, I have to put this on the table, be really entertained by this show's story, but it still might be, like, disastrous in things that they're trying to make me believe, to the point of where my suspension of disbelief would be way too hard to achieve. But I could still enjoy it, and that's kind of what's going on with The Flash this season. I would say it's not a well-written show at all, but I am enjoying the story a lot more this year. But still, I think, you know, at the end of the day, when I look at things through quite a critical lens on this channel, which is, you know, what I do with reviews, you do borderline get frustrated at the end of the day, which hinders your enjoyment when the writing is just absolutely all over the place, whether the story's more entertaining or not. And we're going to have to wait to see if Gotham Knights has that issue as well. And I just wouldn't be surprised if it does. But there is, you know, I couldn't deny a slither of hope because of Superman and Lois. But what do you think? Do you think that's fair, or do you think, yeah, like, I get what you're saying with Superman and Lois, but considering, like, we got 3 Batwoman writers, the premise sounds a bit ridiculous, in my opinion. I can just see how that would unfold as well, like these kids going around just trying to clear their names. They happen to ally with the daughter and sons of the enemy Batman Rogues Gallery villains. It just seems very CW-y. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, guys. Like this video if you did enjoy it. Check out my The Batman video yesterday. We got a new trailer. It's an international trailer which gave us some really cool footage that gives us a lot more clues and stuff to work with. I'll be dying to know your thoughts on that. But thank you so much for watching. Hope you all have a lovely rest of your day. And I'll see you, Bat family, I suppose, and Gotham Knights in the next video. Goodbye.